Forgot to unplug. Okay. Welcome to Kingsplaining, the new home of the Rube Empire. I am the Philosopher King, the Ivory Tower. I've got a perspective on things, and we're the two kings.
There we go. Very nice.
Masses, lords, ladies, I have one thing to say to you. Bow to your kings. I am the Iron King, the people's strength, the people's choice. Some might say I was as wise as Solomon and got as much sexual action, but that would be very sinful. But I am your Iron King, the strong one. And I explain some things to you. And unfortunately, I must give it to the knave, the bane of the kings himself. The Duke, yes, Duke.
That's right.
Steve.
That's right. I am the kick-ass Duke. I am occasionally the producer, but I am always the Dusty. And I have a perspective on things. So, we have a lot to go over tonight. There's some big things that we brushed on last week that have happened and that we need to cover fully tonight.
That's
on
true.
a lighter note, a certain somebody has to pay out $4 million. And
it's me.
Yeah. What are we doing with this podcast?
Why do you think we're selling our house?
That's one of the reasons.
No. Who is it? Who has to pay $4 million?
He lost his lawsuit in Texas, and I'm brain farting on his name at just this moment. Alex Jones, thank you. Lost the lawsuit and now has to pay $4 million. Now,
have you listened to anything? Have you listened to any of the proceedings? Like, the judge was was coming down so hard on him. She was just. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the case. You know, he may or may not need to be paying this money, but it was kind of ridiculous how the judge was inserting herself constantly throughout the proceedings. Yeah,
well, they have to.
Yeah, but like, okay, no.
One must make an example of your underlings as kings of this court.
That's true.
You must make examples of these people.
Well, yeah. If you don't, the people will rise up and say things like their opinions, like we want that kind of thing.
Forbid.
And they might make wild accusations, or even reasonable accusations, or even, dare I say it, true accusations, which is the last thing we want.
Oh, careful there.
But this particular judge, like I saw one clip where his attorney is asking him, how did that make you feel in response to whatever. I didn't see that part, but and so he goes, well, I read in the paper that such and such a thing happened. She's like, you can't mention what you read in the paper. That's hearsay.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Anything he hears or reads is all hearsay. And
wait.
Essentially, they Johnny Depped him. That's hearsay.
Wait, what?
Hearsay.
Basically,
that's
hearsay. On the record. It's on the record.
Doesn't matter. It's hearsay.
Okay, so they've admitted that media is completely fraudulent at this point.
It's hearsay. Basically. What he's read or what he's heard is hearsay for the court.
Sure.
Yeah, but he's quoting in the newspaper, correct?
Doesn't matter what he's quoting. It's hearsay. Now, if he is able to get the newspaper article listed and get it submitted as evidence, then that's not hearsay. But him talking about it is hearsay. So It's one of those things.
Yeah, but I mean, he was answering a question about how he felt. He wasn't submitting what he read as evidence. It was like the beginning of his sentence to talk about how something made him feel. And
Yeah.
you can't mention that. That's hearsay.
Oh, is that
And
like?
he's
Are we to stop him from talking every 2 seconds?
basically yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same tactic. Gotcha. We do it to our serfs all the time when they try to talk. So I got you.
Definitely.
So. Yeah,
What's next?
It was
Dusty?
one of those things that's just kind of like, okay, well.
So what I was saying was, that's hearsay, Dusty. You can't mention that. So.
Do you want this
Now,
soon?
what I'm trying to talk about here is
no, but that's hearsay.
What I read, but
hearsay.
Dusty, if you
can't I even talk?
That's serf speak, and we won't have it in our court.
But I'm a duke. I'm not a serf.
Well,
keep it up, you understand me?
Come on, kings, step up.
Listen. If you say things like all the pictures of the kids that died in Sandy Hook, magically were taken from kids that were older that weren't the actual pictures of the kids, I would call that a little bit weird. If you look at the videos of the dad who allegedly lost his daughter, joking it up and hamming it up literally 10 hours after his daughter's death, and in no way is a crisis actor that was used in other situations that are well documented. That would be, you'd be sued for defamation. So let's make sure we stay away from that because we would not want to appear to help up this narrative because
no.
can't fight facts, we just fight emotions. But yes, go ahead.
It is a terrible thing to say all those things that others have said and have, documented. So, yeah, definitely terrible. Yeah. We shouldn't do that.
I wouldn't want to raise the question of the validity of that situation, especially when the actor was used in another similar shooting 2 years before. Maybe it's unprecedented bad luck, but it's really hard to believe that. I think the one case was in Arizona. They used him in Arizona and somehow used him in Sandy Hook 2 years later. So he has a lot of daughters dying, so it's really sad for that guy. I feel horrible. So if that happened,
No. That's hearsay. That's hearsay.
Okay.
That's not a fact. That's just hearsay.
Listen, as a father of daughters, I would probably.
That's hearsay. Objection. Hearsay. I have no evidence that you actually have daughters.
Dusty, you've met them.
It's all hearsay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry. But let's get real. I think one of my favorite quotes of the week was "Don't follow the science, follow the silence." The silence is probably what's going on, and that pattern's been going on for a long time in America. And I just, the internet has just woken our eyes up to that. So, but stay faithful.
You can't keep people silent on the internet.
Nah, can't do it.
I mean, just look at us.
So
next story.
Next thing up, Brittany Griner. Am I saying that right? Griner?
Yep.
Surprisingly enough, she was found guilty and sentenced to 9 years in Russian court. Now,
why
are we talking about what?
Your audio keeps cutting out, Ray. What?
Can't hear you at all. Methinks you need a new now you can. Now we can. You need a new computer, bro.
I was confused while we were talking about Brittany Griner. I mean, I thought that she was in Indiana Jones 4, so I don't know why we're talking about that on the show.
No. This is the woman's basketball player who got arrested in Russia.
Wait,
for
there's basketball?
Having a vape.
Vape with marijuana. Which, I'm sorry, You don't take drugs to other countries. Period. You don't do it. I don't care if it's in a vape. I don't care if it's in a bottle. I don't care if it's in a pill. You don't take drugs to other countries. Not unless you specifically know it's not illegal. Because you don't know what's legal and what's illegal when you're traveling outside the United States.
You're going to have an interaction with law enforcement.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So why would you take that? Why would you take that risk?
Because it's not addictive, guys. Make it legal. Legalize it.
Because it's not a big deal. It's just a little weed. I mean, come on.
Weed, just have a cow. Jeez. Yeah, that's about how much I care about Brittany Griner. So yeah, it is.
Yeah. Although 9 years in prison, that's clearly. That's not. They're pushing it to the max to try and provoke us.
Well, what they're trying to do is get the State Department involved into the case, so that they can stir up trouble between them and the United States. Because we're already paying how many billions of dollars to Ukraine to fight them. They got to do something to kind of...
Yeah, to fight them, not to, launder back into their own pockets. But I think Ray was trying to say
that's
something.
Hearsay. That's hearsay. You can't use it. It's hearsay.
Well,
you conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theorists. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think Dusty overwrites you. So if you're both talking at the same time, you can't interrupt.
Yeah, I can overwrite Ray. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking for the rest of the night. I'm just going to keep going and going and not stop. And
All right, you were saying Ray?
First and foremost, I'm just perturbed that they allowed women to play basketball. Like, not in my kingdom. But,
Did you tell them about the excellent fundamentals? To quote Futurama.
No, I'm good. Secondly, here's the deal. How do I say this? There was a certain president. I won't name him because we'll get banned. He was a little orange, but he had a very similar incident in China where UCLA basketball players decided to shoplift in China, and they only stayed there for a day. I'm glad that the adults are in the room running the country again, like the media tells us all the time. But this wouldn't have. It just seems like it wouldn't have happened under the previous regime. But
everything that's going on wouldn't have happened.
So there's an analogy that I absolutely love that's been kind of going around the Twitter sphere and the TikTok sphere. It involves a certain movie with lions and a certain area, and under a certain king, everything was great. It was really, really good. Then all of a sudden, he was usurped, and within a few months, everything went to pot. And it wasn't until somebody else replaced him that things started to get better. But it got really, really bad under the previous guy when he said, just give it all to them. You'll never go hungry again, I believe were the exact words.
A chicken in every pot.
Philosopher King?
Yes.
Are we going to allow words like usurp to be spoken in our presence? I am a little I'm a little leery about that kind of conversation in my presence. That's strike number one. Dusty.
Well, here's the thing. Supposedly in the Rube Empire, of which we are the kings, the people are free. Yes. So they are free to speak those words. Dusty, however, is not.
Hey! What the heck?
No, I like your analogy, Dusty. Lion King is gold for a
I didn't
reason.
say Lion King. I didn't say Lion King. I don't know what
Sorry,
you're talking about. That's
Sorry,
hearsay. I didn't
Hamlet.
say Lion
Kimba.
King.
My bad. Kimba,
Hamlet.
the story it ripped off of. But Kimba, was a pretty good movie. So, back in the day. Do you guys know about that?
No.
Yeah,
Simba's
I do.
like the Lion King is like verbatim ripped off of an '80s movie called Kimba that was done in
Shot for
Japan.
shot.
It's like shot for shot, literally the same movie.
Really?
And the kid's name
Oh
Simba
yeah.
instead of Simba. It's the same story, but we needed Darth Vader's voice for Mufasa. So that's just,
I've
and we needed
never heard
JTT.
that.
Dude,
Simba.
look up Kimba.
Simba.
Interesting.
It's kind of funny. It's really funny. I don't want to kill the Disney magic, but sometimes I do. Even though I did eat there today, so I will. You will have to forgive me. Wait a minute. I'm a king. I don't need forgiveness, but I went to Disney today. Trails in. It was muy delicioso. But I feel But yeah. It's interesting what countries will get away with or will do when there's no one in control. So which Dusty, I think you wanted to talk about something else having to do with China. Is that the
Are you
China?
talking about the title of
China.
our episode? Drunk woman almost starts World War III.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. Just hold on.
We have to pass the bill to know what's in it. Duh.
Okay. So the Pelosi, if we would call her that, decided she wanted to pay a visit to Taiwan, one of our allies.
Yeah.
Not too bad of a country. I wouldn't recommend going there if you like your freedom, but they make a lot of our stuff for us. Well, China has had their eye on Taiwan for quite some time. In fact, it's gotten to the point where they won't allow anybody that they endorse to talk about Taiwan as its own country.
Yeah, in the Olympics, they're Chinese Taipei.
Chinese Taipei is
Yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah, it's sickening. The Organization for Athletic Cooperation and through internationally has been forced by Communist China to only recognize Taiwan as Chinese Taipei because China does whatever the hell it wants. That disgusts me so thoroughly. Anyway, continue, Dusty.
So going back to the drug... Oh, sorry.
But Russia can't have a national team. They're the federation from Russia. They're not actually Russia in the Olympics, by the way, because
they were doping.
Drug.
Yeah, because they were doping. But that was Russia's own fault. So Russia broke the rules. This is China exerting political pressure on the IOC against another country because they just said that they own them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're correct.
It's wrong. It's very, 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 very wrong.
We do it all the time, King. We do it to Iowa all the time. But yeah, keep going. Sorry about that.
To Iowa?
Yeah, it's one of
Iowa.
Provinces. We make them do our will. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I was a state.
It's still wrong.
Huh? What are you talking about? This is the United States of the Kings. What else do I need to say?
This is the Rube Empire.
Come on, man.
So, getting back to what I was saying, China warned Pelosi several times and the United States that she's not allowed to go there. She's not welcome there. They don't want her acknowledging the leaders of Taiwan or talking to them. So she went anyways. And we sent 3 destroyers and 2 missile cruisers over into that area. and we have two aircraft carrier groups within I believe it's 8-hour trip, and they could be there, ready to go, ready to defend Taiwan. So she goes there, she meets with the leaders anyways, and China today decides, you know what, we don't like this, we're going to fire a couple of missiles and drop them, right over Taiwan. Just to say, hey,
they also flew planes across their airspace.
Yep.
They flew jets across their airspace, which hasn't been done in decades, is my understanding.
Because Taiwan has a pretty sophisticated missile system given to them by us.
What's up, Ray?
What do you know?
For my humble, I don't do humble. I'm a king. Sorry, I keep messing my vernacular up when I'm speaking. I apologize, man. So what did they do again?
Who did what?
China. What did they do again?
They shot some missiles and they flew some planes. They
No,
grumbled. They grumbled quite a bit.
And what did they do again?
They didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah. Here's my humble kingly opinion. If I were a king, which I happen to be, and someone tried to cross me, I would make sure that I had the men, the armaments, the necessary war fighting tools it would take to crush my enemies before me. That one king, Conan the Barbarian, once told me that the greatest thing is to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. Now, here's what I would say. If I was actually a strong nation that wasn't on the verge of financial collapse, and I made threats like this, and someone actually tested me, I would make that would be an F around and find out moment. But they did the equivalent of a popcorn fart. Let's get real. So I'm not dissing China, and I'm not dissing Pelosi, even though I've got beef with your boy Beck. So I will bring that up to you, Philosopher King, because he disappointed me on this one. But yes, everyone on the quote unquote conservative media was like, "Don't go, Nancy. Don't go. You'll start World War III." Why are we cowering to China again?
No idea.
Now, get it. Listen, fake tit 80-year-old lady that's perpetually drunk and a, goblin. That's the bad. I hate to quote other King Alex Jones, but a goblin has the cojones, has the feminine fortitude to say, I gotta. Now, don't get me wrong. She's not going.
Let me interrupt you here. Okay.
Go ahead.
All this talk about fortitude and whatnot. That's not why she went. She doesn't have fortitude. This isn't her sheer bravery and this is hubris.
To protect her investment, which I was getting to, Maddie Matt.
No, it's
She's
hubris.
going there to protect her investment, 100%. But to be fair, even with the most corrupt, whatever broad that's going over there to protect her investments, what does that say about us that we're cowering in fear of China in 2022?
I think
because
it's more along the lines of, we don't trust you, Nancy Pelosi. Nothing you do makes things better. Correct. Don't go over there. As opposed to, we don't want to go to war with China. We can't afford it. No. And we don't want to be losing our lives. Got it. Yeah, no, I agree. In one part, I love the foolhardy American spirit of,
sure,
we don't do what we're told. Okay.
And we back it up with a little bit of a real force.
Yeah. But then I also, prudence is a great thing, and Nancy Pelosi is a terrible thing. So
Agreed.
if you
100% agreed.
So we have three things there: the American spirit,
yes.
Nancy Pelosi, bad, and prudence. If two of those three things say, Nancy, don't go over there. Prudence and Nancy being terrible.
Okay, let me add fourth element to this to balance the force. Okay? Let me balance the force. You ready for it? We just exposed our enemy.
Do what?
Did we?
We exposed their enemy as
was it
impotent.
Intentional? It wasn't intentional 4D chess, but fake booby 80-year-old drunk, okay, fake Catholic chick, went over there and called their bluff. Think about that. Think about that. The most evil psychopath in our government right now called the bluff of the arguably the most evil country in the world. What does that say about them?
Did she? So here's my question for you. Did she call their bluff, giving her and the administration a hell of a lot of credit? Or did she intentionally incite?
Well, here's
accidentally called their bluff.
Now, here's the 5D chess, and I'm going to ask you a question with this, okay? Why would Nancy Pelosi do this other than her investments? Let's think this through, kids.
Oh, yeah.
What's coming up?
I mean,
what's coming up?
Well, I don't know what's coming up, but I have a little side thing. Her husband just dumped like $3 million worth of Nvidia shares like a month ago. So, that's something.
But back to Pelosi. Why would I do this? What's coming up in 4 months? You have an election coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Republicans go roughshod. And somehow, some mother effing, some place how. Because this is the bravado that they think. They think they're going to hold the House. Everything that they have said is that we're going to hold the House. Okay? I want to be in a position that when they finally kick Biden out, because he's got, this is his third time he's gotten COVID after being quadruple vaccinated for this thing, right?
Quadruple vaccinated and
well, he's
boosted
tested
twice or 3 times. I don't know if it's twice or 3 times. And Pfizer's talking about releasing a new booster.
Yeah. All I'm saying is she is trying to put herself in a position that, let's say something bad happens to Joe Biden.
Well, I was tough on China. I went to Taiwan.
It was tough on China. It's a win for me. I should be the real leader of the Democratic Party. It's going to be McSlider, because let's get real. Let's get real. This is what no one's talking about. Why wouldn't Nancy Pelosi run for president? Why wouldn't she? Everyone hates Kamala. Everyone hates Biden. If you're the best looking Democrat of all of them that shows that you're tough, why wouldn't you run for president?
Because it's not an election year.
2 years it will be. She thinks she's going to live forever. I mean, on the kids' blood that she's drinking, she thinks she's going to live forever. So,
isn't she as old as Biden?
No, this is the oldest. This is the oldest government we've ever had in the history of America. On the House and the Senate side, this is in the executive branch. This is the oldest group of people running our country ever. And they have so much hubris that they literally think, as Matt was right about earlier, it's effing hubris, but they literally think they'll live forever. So this is a move to position yourself to say, hey, listen, tough on China. Nobody else is. When all those Republicans like Glenn Beck said, I win. That's what they did. missiles at nothing because they didn't want to start something. They literally, they told him, Michael Jackson, you want to be starting something. They didn't want any of that noise, okay? And she's back already. So that's a win for her. So that's just me trying to even the scales. Being the naysayer king that I am, that's actually a good line for me. The naysayer king. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it may be. I don't see her. I personally don't see her running for president. Can't hear you. You gotta get a new computer, bruh.
Insulting the technology of my people?
Yeah, I'm insulting the technology of your people, and you can't even retort on it because your technology is failing. Anyway,
Nancy Pelosi was born in 1940.
Man.
Do you know how old that makes her?
Well, she was in Congress when JFK was elected president.
She's 82.
Yeah.
And we're complaining about a guy who's in his 70s. And she wants to run for president? She would be 84 by the time she finally runs.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her, but I just don't see it happening. I think she likes where she's at. I think she likes the power that she wields there. It's probably a pretty how would I put it? It's probably a pretty lush existence.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's the best retirement plan she could ever possibly get is being in the Senate. She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to really go anywhere. She has to show up.
Sorry about that.
Did I lose everybody?
He was frozen and I was trying something.
Oh, okay.
So that was my bad. But he'll come back soon.
Are we back on?
You back, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that much
better? I don't
better?
see you though.
Oh, un momento, you sexy, sexy beast. 1 second. I'm back. Sorry.
There we go.
It's me.
Sound much better.
Listen, at the end of the day, this is the powers that be that are trying to stifle my kingdom, and I have my personal security guard searching them out to destroy them as we speak. But that's a story for another time. Sorry. Continue explaining.
So I was just saying Nancy Pelosi is 82 years old as of right now.
That means nothing to them. They are godless, child blood drinking vampires. They will continue to live forever and ever. How long has the Queen of England been the Queen of England? Think about that. They don't die. How old is George Soros? They don't.
Bernie Sanders is 80.
How old? Who?
Bernie Sanders is 80, and
he'll probably run again too. The corporations.
Listen, I don't think she's going to run because I think she likes where she is. That's what I'm saying.
So you have these geriatrics who were in office during segregation who voted for it.
I know.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi was in office voting for this stuff. How are we not bringing up her record going, was she voted to keep whites and blacks separated?
Because she wants to affirm your right to kill your baby. Okay? And she was just tough on China.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't. She
82 is the new 52. Nancy is deep state.
What did Deep State say? What did he say?
Dusty, you're going to have to handle that. I don't see any of the chat.
But yeah, so, I think this whole, I don't know, man, this whole China play is...
it's not even a play.
No, it isn't.
It's not a play. She just went to China because she has business interests there.
Yeah, 100%.
And America does have business interests there too. But it wasn't about China. But luckily, because God is good, we did. China proved themselves kind of impotent. You know, I don't like this. They're just a little baby with a temper tantrum. Granted, they have a billion, people from which they can recruit troops. But what we're not seeing in our news media is those people are lining up in the streets protesting the banks, and because the banks haven't been open for months, and they're getting restless and they're getting pissed off. And
because their banks are empty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this is all part.
China has been pulling funds from the local banks, and
sure,
the banks don't have any money.
Well, China's trying to play a long game, but they're on the knife's edge to do it. They've bought a ton of gold, so they've got a ton of gold that they could be using to fund. But they have a zero COVID policy, right? So they shut down their city. Alibaba just today posted their first down quarter in a long time because of shutdowns. And we've seen shutdowns here in America. We've seen lockdowns, but nothing like what the Chinese do. I mean, they literally lock you in your apartment building.
Yeah, and if you come out, they arrest you. If not, take you to a camp and make you disappear.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, they got a billion other people that are lined up to take their place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, listen,
but so they're, if they are stealing money from the local banks, which wouldn't put it past them, it's because they want to hold on to their gold, because they're waiting for the West and our financial system to collapse. The problem with that is our financial system still has a capitalist underpinning, And sure, the World Economic Forum is doing everything they can to destroy that. Just look at the farmers in the Netherlands. The whole push for bugs, the inflation we're experiencing here in Great Britain and probably other places in the West. It's not good, but it's not nearly as bad as what China has going on.
Yeah.
No.
And my question is this: they bought all this gold. Do they physically have the gold, or is it just owned? Like, I can buy gold on my phone. Doesn't mean I physically have the gold.
Correct. Knowing that, I would say that they physically have it. I would say that they've probably got mines all over the world that they've bought, pumping gold to them,
Okay.
But they've bought it with government fiat play money, which is what money is to governments, So anyway, they've been proven impotent, and that's a good thing. I don't think that everybody saying don't go over there was truly worried.
I'm looking at you. Explain, Beck. Please explain. Explain the Blaze.
I did. Prudence, Nancy Pelosi, terrible.
I have a question. Crazy question. At what point? Okay, this is gonna be off topic because this is what drives me nuts. It drives me insane. Okay, you ready for this question? Okay, I'm watching the Blaze,
and
I try to do my best. I have a lot of things I like about the Blaze right now. Okay, And eventually I know, Beck, you're going to call me, but at least I have the balls to tell you you're wrong, and that's okay. That's what you want in people that want to work with you. When I watch Fearless with Jason Whitlock, that dude is fearless. He will call some things out. I hate that he lumps in Beck with following Christ Jesus, but Daily Wire, all these people have no concept of that at this point anyway, so that's okay. So why does Deep State want to keep bringing up Alex Jones? We already talked about that. But what a douche. What a douche, Deep State. Douche move. Kick us while we're down, Deep State. Deep State. He almost stole your position, Dusty, with that comment. Them's fighting words. I respect.
I'm really not worried about Deep State.
I know. Alex Stein 99 has been hilarious on the Blaze lately. They've been bringing him on the show. It's been great. Who else is good? The Cowboy guy's funny. Stu is always good. Stu's good. But here's my thing. Okay, Glenn. This bastion of conservatism means nothing if there's no teeth behind it. Let me say that again. Your bastion of conservatism, and I say that in air quotes with much hostility, doesn't mean anything if I'm not afraid that you're going to whoop my ass. Now, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that we go out and fight people just straight up. But there has to be a point where people believe that you're willing to actually stand up for what you're saying. Okay? Every one of Glenn Beck's moves or advice always is because he's not a Christian. He's obsessed with Gandhi. He talks about Gandhi all the time. Gandhi worked. No, Gandhi didn't work. Never mind. I'm not gonna. I won't step on that one. I'm not gonna be an a-hole. But long story short, your boy is as feckless as all the people he bitches about on his shows all the time. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh, that's all you're trying to say. Ah, okay.
Listen,
I'm not here to defend Glenn Beck.
No, listen. It's your boy. You brought him into my life, okay? So you've got to deal with the consequences.
You were listening to him before you met me, you douchebag.
And I'm just rolling my eyes over here because there's so much more stuff that we need to cover.
Go ahead.
For example,
let's go.
You don't like prudence.
I don't.
No.
It's fire.
It's only one of the fruits of the spirit, but you don't like it. So
listen, we've had lots of prudence in America, and it
served us well. It served us well. There was no need for her to. There was no real need for her to go to Taiwan. Was there? Was there really a dire need for her to go there?
I didn't make that argument, but all I'm saying is
no. But that's the whole point. That's the whole underpinning.
It was a posturing on the United States' part because China was absolutely adamant that they do not go, that we do not get involved in Taiwan. They want to make sure that everyone sees, hey, we're taking this. We're not actually taking it to everybody else.
Nancy Pelosi is out there saying, "I'm going to go to Taiwan. I want to go to Taiwan. We're going to go." That's stupid. Yeah. There's no purpose to it. There's no purpose to it. We can do what we always do and just show up.
Listen, here's the deal.
So she was being imprudent, and she's terrible.
Yeah.
Plenty of reason to not want it.
Explain to me the point where I have had ever defended Nancy Pelosi as a person. She is going to go to the deepest parts of hell, and I'm going to enjoy it at the Great White Throne Judgment. I shouldn't, but I'm going to enjoy watching her burn in hell. My point is, at some point, you got to stand up to a bully. And if you play the prudence game long enough, you're just bending over.
You're absolutely right. You do have to stand up to a bully. What was the bully doing that we stood up to here? Nothing.
Calling Taiwan theirs.
They've been doing that for decades.
Yes.
And
we've over there going, hey, no, look, we acknowledge their government.
Yeah. That's not what this was.
They sent Pelosi.
That's not what this was.
They sent Pelosi.
They didn't send Pelosi. She sent herself.
She sent herself.
Yeah,
she went
exactly.
Herself.
Exactly. So none of this was a good idea. We lucked out.
Listen,
we backed her up with the 5 ships that we sent from the Navy and moving our aircraft carriers in range to defend them.
Yes, we had to go and bail out the drunk woman who was doing stupid things.
Of course.
It wasn't a good idea from the get-go. All right? Now, I'm not saying that we don't stand up to China. Stand up to China. Heck yeah. We do need to stand up to bullies. You're absolutely right. You can only the less you do the less you sit the more you sit there and take it, the more bullies want to give it. Yes. I understand that. They know that. I'm just saying that this particular instance, this specific instance, is not us standing up to bullies or anything positive. It was Nancy Pelosi being dumb. Yes. That's the entirety of my argument.
And I'm just going to say one more thing so Dusty can move on with his bill that's going to get shot down in the Senate, okay? All I'm saying is this. If Orange Man would have done it, would we have had the same attitude towards this situation? Go. Because I remember Orange Man calling them China, sticking up to them, even going to North Korea when everyone told them, don't go to Orange Man.
Here's what that was dumb.
That is win. Huh?
No, for sure, because he had a specific reason for going there. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
And we also would be comparing apples and oranges because the Speaker of the House is not the President of the United States.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that. Now, but had Orange Man been in charge, he wouldn't have sent the Speaker of the House, who is a absolute boob. He would have sent somebody there to rattle Taiwan's chain or China's chains.
Yeah,
and going, hey, knock it off. They're with us.
I get it. But here's my question. Last question on this. Who's actually higher than her in our country right now?
The bigger boob, Kamala Harris.
But who's higher than Nancy Pelosi right now?
Kamala Harris.
The people who...
No, she's not. She's a puppet. Who's higher than freaking... Biden's a puppet too. Biden is literally on his 4th round of rule. And
Nancy Pelosi's... But let me ask you a question then. Pelosi's the one pulling the strings?
No. But what I will say is...
So who's higher than her? Whoever's pulling all 3 of their strings.
I agree. But if
then your argument is moot.
No. If I have the hubris...
Her strings are pulled. Their strings are pulled. Your argument is moot.
You're right. But here's the thing. In the context of the argument... I win. You just don't like my answer.
You don't have one.
Moving on. All right, Kings. Moving on. All right. So last week I talked briefly about HR 1808. It is affectionately called the Common Sense Gun Reform Bill by the leftist demis. Essentially what it does is it makes any gun that's semi-automatic illegal.
So like 90%
the only
of
guns
all the guns
that allows are bolt-action, revolver, or shotgun. And those are the only provisions that it says are allowed. Any gun over 10 rounds, illegal. Any magazine over 10 rounds, illegal. Any semi-automatic weapon that they classify as a assault weapon, dumbest classification ever, because seriously, I could hit you with a golf club. My golf club's now an assault weapon. Again, because changing definitions and whatnot.
To assault.
In an assault, yeah. Pass the House. Why is a wholly unconstitutional bill passing the House and going to the Senate. I pray to God
by
it does not go through the
Marxists?
Senate. I don't think it will, but it passed the House. It shouldn't even been approached. And
I'll tell you
put your
why.
hand down. Put your hand down. Put your hand down, Ray. It's bills like this. People that vote yay on bills like this need to be drug out of the government by their toes. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And they're not following the rules of the Constitution that specifically dictates what they're allowed to do. Not what we're allowed to do, what they're allowed to do. That's what our Constitution is. Our Constitution it doesn't give us rights. It says what rights they have and what they can do. Everything else is ours. Everything.
Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Well, the demon that fed Marx his ideology is very much alive and very much in control of much of the House of Representatives. So, yeah.
Yep. And that same demonic force allowed mules to dump hundreds of thousands of ballots in multiple locations all over on election night, and that, absolutely nothing was weird about the Dominion voting, and magically a person who stayed in the basement for an entire campaign cycle got 81 million votes, and surprisingly we can't find any of them at this point. So that's why it's happening, Dusty. Did we Kingsplain that well enough for you?
Oh, did you notice that Carrie Lake, Trump endorsed candidate for the governor of Arizona, still hasn't found out whether or not she won. I think it was the primary, right?
Yeah.
Because Maricopa County is still counting their ballots. 3 days
I've
later.
Heard this one before.
Seriously?
Wait, I've seen this one before. It's a rerun, right?
Yeah, it is a rerun. Maricopa County is about to jump the shark, and we need to cancel that show.
They need to do what DeSantis did for Florida and Dade County.
Yeah.
He literally went in there and fired everybody that had to do with anything with the elections and said, none of you are allowed to do this.
That's what Carrie Lake is probably going to do if you've ever listened to anything. She's a firebrand, and there's a reason that they're taking so long to count.
Wait, she says intelligent things?
Well, she says intelligent things. She is very concerned about the election situation in Arizona. She's also concerned about the border.
I just can't,
and lots of other things.
I'm not usually a short hair guy, but I pay attention more, when she says things.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to this bill.
Yeah, back to the bill.
It not only bans handguns, it also bans transfer of handguns and assault weapons.
How are you going to enforce that?
People.
How are you going to enforce that?
Starting a national registry, which is the other bill that they're voting on next week. Yeah, it's probably going to pass. And the second bill that they're voting on, airsoft is a safe alternative to your magazines. Dusty. Very nice, Deep State. Very nice.
When this blows up, he better be a writer. He better be a writer for our show. I'm going to be pissed
seriously
if we don't get him on the payroll.
Wait, there's a payroll? Wait a second. You guys have been paying yourself?
No.
What?
You're the payroll. Oh. You pay us.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right, just making sure.
With the meek. Okay.
So, I mean, it just down the line, it takes the Second Amendment and goes, Yeah. Yeah, you guys don't need that. You're good. You're good. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, you don't need that. Why would you need that? You know, it's only
This bill
prevented
says
every country from invading the United States. It's only prevented, you know, the United States from going completely authoritarian.
thou shalt
Why
not
would you need that?
infringe. I'm gonna
Dusty.
infringe the hell out of you.
Dusty. Here's the way you respond to this. Did you see the video of the ATF agent? The second video of the ATF agent trying to register weapons. Was this happening in Delaware? What state is this happening
Yes.
in?
Delaware.
Okay, Delaware.
It was in Delaware.
Ridiculous. Okay,
Yeah.
the guy
Biden's
says,
home state.
yeah. So this ATF agent comes in and says, "Hey, yeah, I just need to register your weapon because you bought a few and blah blah blah." He's like, "Oh, 1 second, let me go get it." He goes inside of his house and calls the cops. He just waits, and the cops serve this dude up some, shall I say, I don't want to say George Floyd like justice, but long story short, he's the ATF agent tries to pull I'm a federal agent, and they're like, get on the ground. He wouldn't comply. Yep. They get him on the ground. They tase him, cuff him, and he's like, you guys remember?
They put him in the car. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Yeah, all that fun stuff. But yeah, long story short,
play the Floyd.
Yeah, I think that the thing is this. I guess I'm not as worried about it as you, Dusty. But yes, to your point, Dusty, should this ever happen? Absolutely not. Especially when the Constitution is very clear, and you just had rulings in New York that you can't do this. You cannot do this. You shall not infringe on our guns. But
it is going to go to the Supreme Court. It's going to be fought at every turn.
But here's my point.
It shouldn't go that far. That's my point. It shouldn't even be that far. And why aren't we absolutely blowing up every single senator's phone going, kill this thing now? We have the right to do that. I know I've called my senator at least 24 times, leaving messages and talking to his staff saying, you're going to kill it? You're going to kill it? And yes, so he is going to kill it.
To hear this is why I think.
Review, by the way,
there's a theme of the show today. It's flailing. There's a lot of flailing going on. Like China's flailing. Yeah. They're not really in power. Okay, Satan is flailing. That's why he's trying to do the things that he's doing. The House especially knows it is about to get an enema. Does that make sense? Like it is about to get flushed.
A cleansing
severely, right? So this is, to me, this looks like flailing. That's the best way I can Kingsplain this. This is a flail, like nobody's business, on multiple levels. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is a virtue signal.
Yes.
I doubt it's going to pass the Senate, and if it does, by some chance, because Republicans are garbage too. It will go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court already has precedent of knocking this crap down. So
yeah,
I mean, if you want to render the federal system completely useless and start the cold civil war we're in, the Senate will pass this. But the Senate really likes power. Especially those Republicans that are worthless. They're like, Republicans do nothing other than stop things from happening. Like, think about that. That's all they do.
They're really good at doing that. They're really
good at stopping stuff. And they're going to do it again, because if they don't, they're effed. Like, there's no amount of vote for those Republicans. Like, you're going to get more of the incredibly attractive short-haired ladies in Arizona that are contrary to the GOP globalist brand. You're going to get more MAGA people if you don't play ball in this place. And I think they know that, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm crazy.
That's a good Kingsplain.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Isn't that the name of the show?
It is the name of the show.
Isn't that what we're here for?
It is. It is. It's very apropos. But
yeah, so I do want to change topics because we have 15 minutes before we do our closing. Lord of the Rings. Can we talk about this?
Well, let's first wait. Let's jump to DeSantis first. Let's
just
praise.
Sorry. DeSantis, my bad.
Let's praise Papa D. All right. Big big DeSantis energy up in here. Okay.
Big DeSantis energy. Big.
I like what he did, though.
I like how he did it too. First, he announced that he was going to have an announcement that was going to really piss liberals off. That's basically how he put it. Major announcement today, and it's going to really make liberals go crazy. And so then he came out and made the announcement, which was, hey, there's this state attorney whose name is escaping me. Dusty, if you can fill that in.
I'm looking for it right now.
When you get it. And he thinks that he has the power to not enforce the laws that are in place in our state. He does not have that power. That's the veto power, and that belongs to the office of the governor. Therefore, this state attorney is immediately suspended indefinitely. Bye-bye. That's not how we do things in Florida. We stand up for children. We prevent them from getting murdered in the womb after 15 weeks. Should be earlier, but that's just my this king's opinion. And by earlier, I mean like at time 0. Maybe time 1. I don't know if you want to get technical. Time 1, like conception. Boom, done.
Oh, I think you said Taiwan. Sorry, my bad.
Taiwan. No. And we prevent children from being abused through double mastectomies and castration at young ages before they are considered to be able to give consent and make wise decisions. And the state attorney didn't want to do it, so he's gone. Bye-bye. And It was awesome. And as he predicted, the leftists did go crazy. What was his name?
Andrew Warren.
That's right, Andrew Warren.
Elected prosecutor for Tampa.
Well, we had. I saw one person on Twitter. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go.
I saw one person on Twitter who was saying that this was a far overreach by DeSantis, taking more and more of our freedoms, and the only and then now he's getting rid of the only person who's standing up for those freedoms. And then I remarked immediately, yes, the freedom to murder your children and murder your babies and mutilate children. Yeah, that's the freedom that we want here in Florida. She also She was also calling for Nikki Fried to come and and do something, which is just the biggest joke.
Have you seen her Twitter, Nikki Fried's?
Everything she does is awful.
I laugh whenever I need a good laugh at a really bad liberal. I either go to Nancy Pelosi or Nikki Fried because, oh my God.
Everything she says is just immediately ripped apart.
Oh, it's destroyed. Absolutely destroyed.
And I think she did an accidentally racist promotion video for herself recently. I can't remember the details of it, but you might want to look into that. It'll be a good laugh. You got to love the left and their accidental racism. And hint for everybody who's listening, I'll Kingsplain it for you. It's not accidental.
No, they are very, 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 very
actually racist.
Yes.
Every time that they call our side racist, that's projection, because they are actually the racists, in case you didn't understand that.
That is in fact true.
But so DeSantis is awesome yet again.
Still waiting for
Everybody's still clamoring for him to run in 2024. I hope that he doesn't, because I want him to stay. There's still work to be done in Florida. We need to batten down the hatches. We need to build up the defenses.
He's making it really hard to.
Yeah, so's Trump.
To be president, though.
Yeah, so's Trump, making it hard to not want DeSantis.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah,
hard. So, I mean, listen, dude. I said it on the show. I kind of want DeSantis more than Trump. I couldn't imagine I saying that on the show. But
can you imagine that 2 years ago?
Yeah, he would be demonstrably better.
Yeah,
would.
But
I think so.
But who's here on the scene replacing him in Florida? That's the thing.
Grady Judd, but he won't do it. But what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, we don't really lose either way. Is if DeSantis is president, he's going to tap whoever he thinks is going to be the right person, and DeSantis has got the swag that people will vote for who he polls. Does that make sense? The problem is, do you have a person that does not give a rat's hind hole what anybody thinks like DeSantis and is willing to battle that way, right? So you win that scenario if you're Floridian, but it's murky waters. If Trump runs and DeSantis says, I'm going to just wait because I'm not gonna play that game of trying to fight Donald Trump and just let him do his thing, and then I'll come riding in. Awesome, we win doubly because you got Orange Man, even though he sucked at COVID and still thinks he rocked at it. He did, I'd say 3/4 of what he did was awesome. So I would like to see more of that.
Sure.
So we don't really lose, but it does. I do want DeSantis more, but that's another story for another time.
So here's a little mind thought. Say DeSantis does run, wins the presidency, and there's a certain Floridian who lives here in Florida, runs for governor.
Oh, Dusty, that is cute. That would be hilarious.
That would be unbelievably hilarious. I don't think it'll ever happen, but
we're talking about egos.
I know.
Egos it's not gonna let him do it.
No, it won't. He would never.
Is this a certain Floridian who lives in a place called Mar-a-Lago?
Possibly.
Yes.
Okay.
Possibly.
Okay.
I don't think he would ever take kind of that step down. I don't think his ego could take it, but yeah.
I would love him as governor. I think that would be hilarious.
It would be.
That would just, that's more. Fun. Oh my gosh. You're talking about the epitome of Florida man.
That's Orange what I was man. Thinking too. Florida man.
Florida man.
Yeah. But my ideal thing would be DeSantis runs for president. Really don't care who he picks for vice president because I really don't give a darn.
I do.
Just so long as he's president.
I do because he would be then potentially the successor to DeSantis after DeSantis.
All right.
We need to think dynastically. We need to think 100-year plans. Yeah, that would be great.
All right.
That would be great.
There you go. You got a woman, vice president, great, and then Grady Judd becomes governor of Florida. Hey, everybody, get your shotguns. We got some protests going on.
Woo, 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 woo.
Just that would be the total Florida man ideal. But I love Deep State's his comment here. Keep Florida free. I need a tax-free vacation. I hate to tell you this. You going on vacation in Florida pays our taxes. So
keep it going.
Free taxes for us since you have to pay that. Sorry.
Visit, but don't stay here. Thanks.
Yeah. Don't
right.
don't New York my Florida.
What time is it? When a final thought? What do we got?
No,
I got a final thought.
We're gonna go on
I'm
to
ready
Lord
to
of
go
the
with my
Rings.
final thought.
We got Lord of the Rings,
that's
bro.
right. Go ahead.
We started late.
50.
Remember this, okay?
Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. A king's time is precious. Do I need to explain that to you? Do I need to explain that?
Oh no, you've explained it many times.
in many varying ways.
All right. So, last a little bit of pop culture. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, coming to Amazon. I don't know, sometime.
Cast?
Why is it that every time that they release new footage, my opinion of it gets worse and worse?
Because it is really, really bad to start with. It's almost okay. They're on the cusp of doing what DC did to Batgirl.
Oh, you stole you son of a bee. You literally stole my. This is the second week you've done this. I got a Batgirl punchline ready for this. You douche. Keep going.
The Duke knocks it out. What can I say?
What did DC do to Batgirl?
So they finished making a Batgirl film that was supposed to lead into the new Justice League movie revamp that they're working into. Well, they fired their director like when 40% of the film was already shot. They fired the director, hired a new one. Sound familiar? And it's so bad and so misshot. They took the finished film and said, "We're never showing this to anybody. It's too bad."
Wow.
The test audiences said it was the worst movie they've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's the worst movie they've ever seen.
Wow.
Oh, by the way, Michael Keaton plays a role as Batman, or as Bruce Wayne anyways, and that still didn't save it. It's that awful.
Spoiler, no one needs any more female protagonists in superhero movies.
I'm not against that. I'm not. No. I am fine with them doing female protagonists, all of that. I'm okay with it as long as they write good story. They haven't done it yet. I mean, there's tons of great female characters out there that they could do. Sue Storm. Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four. Sue and Reed Richards having a son, being married, nuclear family. Tell it. Tell the struggle of having to be a mother, a superhero, and everything else. Tell the struggle. There's story there. No, they won't do it.
My thing is, how many times do I need to see the message in my movies? And it's going to happen with Galadriel in this new Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
I'm ready for it. I am ready for the worst interpretation of the most powerful character in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Now, it makes sense she's the most powerful because it makes sense within the context of the story. It's not a Captain Marvel bullcrap, but they are going to somehow take the most powerful character in Lord of the Rings and F it up. And to Matt's point, yes, it gets worse every single time. Because guess what? It's like anything. If you shed it, there's an old saying. Okay, Matt. This. I got you on this. Okay, you ready for it? Let me explain this to you. Okay. There's an old evil line that debaucherous young men used to say. I wouldn't make this statement, so don't blame me for this. And my wife will never hear this podcast, so I don't have to worry about it. But there's an old saying, and my grandpa used to tell me, not me, but my friend this all the time. Beauty is merely a light switch away. Let me repeat that. It's literally a light switch away. What happens is the more light you put on a pig, it ends up being a pig, right? So if it sucks, I should get excited about it, right? When I saw the first cast of Thor: Love and Thunder, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Gotta find himself. The second cut almost made me want to watch it, but I was still a little nervous from that first cut. And then when people started watching it, I was like, oh dear God, this does suck, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even give Top Gun a snooze or a look, except for one preview, and that preview looked pretty darn awesome. Okay, but I was like, no, they always make the previews better. Okay, typically the preview is the best part of the movies since what? The Matrix? I mean, literally, since The Matrix,
Yeah.
the preview was always better than the movie. Well, if the preview sucks, if you turn the light switch on and you got a hog beast in your bed, probably not going to be good, man. That's all I'm trying to say. I digress.
Yeah, but it's not just like the obvious woke garbage. You know,
Wait. Black Dwarf Queen with no beard.
Black Dwarf. The fact that
there's a black elf. That doesn't make any sense.
No, they're described as fair-skinned, blonde hair, blue eyes. Sorry, keep going.
Well, but that was just racist Tolkien. You know, being racist.
No, he made an English fairy tale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's unacceptable in the West. But that's a whole nother thing. It's not just that. It's also like the execution of something. So they showed a clip of this person fighting a troll and does this like awesome jump into an attack. And it's like it's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon level wire work where just wing, 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 and then a slice. Ooh, that was super awesome. Nerdrotic posted the clip of it and then put 58 million per episode. That's how much they spent apparently on each episode of this stupid series.
So what you're saying is we just go back and watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, get the same thing?
Yeah.
I
like a good kung fu wire movie. Don't get me wrong.
Problem is
that was made 20 years ago.
Movie.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, not a kung fu movie. That movie was made 20 years ago or more.
Yeah. No.
This is the best we can do in 2022 for $58 million.
Yes.
Absolute garbage. And this is no different. Like this is just Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power is going to be the Wheel of Time 2.0. Because Amazon did the Wheel of Time series and they butchered the hell out of it. And it pissed me off so bad. And yes, I've read the books. I'm not one of those people. The books was better. Obviously, the books are better. The books can give you more detail, but they didn't. But you gotta follow the essence of the book at the very least. All right? Am I wrong in saying that?
No. There's certain things that are specifically said, and it was even said in the original Lord of the Rings movies, and they're breaking all of that.
Oh, I mean,
like
Peter Jackson did a tremendous job, but it wasn't a perfect job. Especially if you watch the extended editions, where the Witch King comes and breaks Gandalf's staff. What the hell is that? That never happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Sauron and Saruman.
Because in reality, Gandalf is the strongest person in Middle-earth because he's not even a person from Middle-earth. He's an angel. The equivalent of an angel. A Maya.
He's an alien.
Galadriel's more powerful, isn't she? Sorry, Galadriel's more powerful.
She's very powerful.
Yeah.
But Gandalf is essentially an angel.
But you're talking about Gandalf the White, though, correct?
Yes, of course. Yeah, Gandalf the Grey didn't remember who he was.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
fully.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what I think our biggest complaint about this whole Lord of the Rings is, I've read the Silmarillion, love it.
Mm-hmm.
I've the research you can do into the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings universe is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Tolkien literally layered everything on this universe.
Oh, yeah.
They really, all they have to do is follow this book. It's a guidebook.
His son is still alive.
Story. Yeah. His son and his granddaughter, who are still making Lord of the Rings content.
Yep. From his stuff.
And they are
not just creating it out of whole cloth from new, but they're actually pulling from the stuff that he wrote.
Yeah. So
all the additional material, there's so much. But they can't be bothered because they don't care. They're woke, and it needs to be woke. And they don't care.
Yeah.
This is X-Men on Fox. Not the 90s cartoon, but the movie.
Yeah.
It's all the same crap, and they're taking the things that we love and taking a nice steamy dump on them and saying you should like this. And then we say no, we don't like it. That's a steamy dump. That's a steamy dump. And then they look at us and they go, you should like it if you know what's good for you. And we need to be like, no, that's a steamy dump. Get out of my face with that crap. And that's my final thought.
Ray, I'm gonna let you wrap things up.
You gonna let me?
Yeah, I have two final thoughts, and it kind of bounces off of what we were just talking about.
Two, okay. No, I'm just kidding.
So Amazon Prime bought out most of MGM, right? And MGM owns it finalized in January of 2022. Started in 2020, finalized in 2022. So now they own all the content that was MGM. One of the big things that MGM made was a little movie called Stargate, and just happens to have 4 series of shows, and
that's 13 seasons of shows.
Are you talking about budget Star Trek?
13 seasons of shows was just the first.
Stargate is excellent. If you haven't watched it, you should.
Stargate is so much fun. In the middle of my backswing. Anyways, if you know the show, you know what I'm talking about. Fantastic show. Amazon said they're not doing anything with it. One of the biggest IPs with massive fan base, and they refuse to do anything with it. I'm so frustrated with Prime right now that it's not even funny.
Yeah, but do you want them to do anything with it?
Yeah. Do you want them to?
We got 2 shows already with a terrible track record. And although the funny thing about Amazon Prime is that they also put out that Chris Pratt series that you were talking about, which was excellent.
Really good.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Terminal List?
Yeah, Terminal List. So it's like...
Why? But here's the thing. Terminal List was made by a director that just said, here, we want you to make this film, go. And then no oversight. Lord of the Rings, they've got oversight like crazy, and it's just bombing like crazy. With Stargate, I think it would be one of those IPs where they go, hey, original director, come back in here. I know you've already got a script lined up for the next series, which I saw. It's fantastic. It's really cool. Go ahead with it. And it would be amazing. Because he did a great job with Stargate. He did a great job with Atlantis. He didn't do it. He wasn't the one that started the universe, but he did pick it up. And by the time he did pick it up, it was already too far gone for him to save it. So
Atlantis one of those things was all right.
It wasn't all that good. It was a bad premise. But anyways, the premise of this new one would be um, people on Earth start building stargates, their own stargates.
Mm.
And so they'd be home-built stargates. And what happens when it's not a stargate that's found? It's one that people build, humans build. So could be fun. Lots of stuff to explore there, mine, whatnot. The second thing I have is there was a very cool launch today by SpaceX by a huge rocket, like one of the largest rockets to ever launch kind of things. And it's sending a ginormously big satellite to the moon. It's one of the biggest satellites to ever leave Earth. And it's checking out the moon for water. And it's also got one of the best cameras we've ever sent on a satellite to photograph the moon in great detail, because there's areas of the moon that we can't see because it's too dark.
Mm-hmm.
This eliminates that. We'll be able to see everything. So I'm very excited to see what happens. And it's the first satellite that South Korea has sent up into space. So we're teaming up with them.
So we'll be able to see the Greys on the dark side of the moon destroy
it. Yeah, possibly.
That's cool.
Or finally see the Nazi space station.
Oh man.
Let's call out to an awful movie.
Iron Sky.
Don't ever see it. Yeah. Iron Sky 1, 2, and 3.
I haven't seen. Oh, there's a third one. I haven't seen the third one.
Breathe. So bad. Anyways, so Ray, wrap us up.
Let me Kingsplain this to you. And I said a little bit on the show. Everyone's quietly admitting all the things that we said were true 2 years ago about everything that has to do with the disease. In Australia, they're finally admitting that they're having menstrual issues with women. They're having actual fertility issues. They've had to create a new category called SADS, the sudden death syndrome, or some bullcrap that's completely
for adults.
bollocks. Yeah, for adults.
Adult death syndrome. Australia is also experiencing the worst outbreak that they've ever experienced, even though over 90% of their population is fully boosted,
vaccinated. Yeah.
Some might call this king a skeptic of science, quote unquote science, what's called science nowadays, on multiple fronts. It'll never stop from me because they haven't shown me to be reliable or worthy. So this is my quote that I'm living by. Let's stop trusting the science and trust the silence. If they're silencing something, it's for a reason. Whether that's Rona or objective facts or anything that's happening right now, whatever they're trying to silence, probably should pay attention to. When they're trying to get your boy Alex Jones shut up, there's a reason why. He's been silenced for a reason. The doctors that were telling you that the vaccine was bullcrap got silenced. The doctors that told you the Rona wasn't going to kill you, and you just need to take a little hydroxychloroquine and you were good, got silenced. When we were telling people that, this is detrimental to children's development, you get silenced. When we're like, gee, that's weird, the fertility rate has dropped everywhere, silenced. Every objective thing that was pointed out about this entire farce, and it's objectively a farce now because it was never a pandemic. I hate using that word because it never actually reached pandemic levels of anything. I'll call it the pandemic for what it was.
Yeah, there you go.
Pay attention. Pay attention to what they silence, not the science. Because the science is going to tell you some really fantastical things that make me giggle on the inside on many, many, many different fronts. But you've got to see what they're silencing. Whatever they silence, you probably need to pay attention to. And I enjoyed explaining that to you, as I kingly do every single week at Kingsplaining.
Oh, also,
Send me home. Go ahead.
Well, just a little side note: monkeypox is now officially a national emergency here in America, thanks to the Biden administration. So that's yeah, that's fun.
For who again?
Oh, for
Who's
us
an
all,
emergency
for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not a sodomite, so why would I have to worry about that?
That's homophobic and racist.
Why? The New England study of health of medicine just said 98% of the cases were homosexual and quote bisexual. There's no such thing.
Silence him.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
Silence him.
That's always a funny phrase. There's no such thing as a bisexual man. You're a homo. Just own it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just own it. But in the study, 98% of the people were of that sodomy lifestyle. Rainbow jihad, as Steve Day says. So what do I have to worry about it? Moreover, why would my kids have to worry about it? Because
the administration wants you to be afraid. That's why.
I'm not afraid.
Sorry. I know. The kings are not afraid. Either.
I've never visited a bathhouse, so I think I'm going to be okay. I made it through college without any desire to do that type of homo experimentation, so we're all good. So what am I worried about again?
You shouldn't be worried about anything. I'm worried. I'm not even really worried, but I'm just aware that they're going to try and use this. They're already trying to use it to make you afraid.
Well, election's coming up, buddy. You got an election coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But we got out ahead of this one because you wasted. You shot your wad on the last one. That was the flu. Like they shot their wad on the cough. So it's hard to use. What I
find amusing, and what I find amusing and I don't know, horrible at the same time, is when they announce, like, you know, the fifth child has monkeypox. And you're just like, how
protection services?
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
Child protection services.
How did this kid get monkeypox? What's
You can't say that.
Why not?
You can't say that. You can't do that.
Oh, is that how 10-year-old girls are getting raped and no one's prosecuting the people having sex with them and getting them pregnant? Is that the same infrastructure we're talking about?
Just get the monkeypox vax. Then the problem will be solved, says the deep state.
Okay, there you go. On that note, you've been watching the Kingsplaining podcast, home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free, the taxes are voluntary, and your magnanimous two kings serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/plausiblepoolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, but more importantly, anywhere you can get a podcast. So go support the podcast, give us 5-star reviews, ask us questions in your reviews if you want us to read it live on air, and we'll be about that for sure. Your kings are generous, okay? You should know this by now, but that's how you can support us, and also, there's links all over everything we do where you can support us financially if you want to help us grow, and we appreciate you. Also, social media, follow us on Twitter and Truth Social. And that's it. That's the end of the show. we'll see you next Thursday. Peace out. God bless.
Out of your kings.